are listening to Sweet Tea and Sarcasm on the SVU Network.
Hey, it's only been 2 months. It's the show that it appears when it darn well good and pleases.
That's right.
It is Sweet Tea and Sarcasm, more sarcasm than sweet tea. And I'm here with my partner in crime, who's having an identity crisis.
I just forgot my name for a minute, but I remembered it now. Sookie! Sookie.
K28, it's May the 4th was yesterday, and that's a Star Wars thing, and I don't really care. So,
well.
And it is Cinco de Mayo.
Yes, it is.
So, I know that, time limitations of things going on, and, due to budget things, I was going to get all the ingredients that you normally make for margaritas, because you make some kick butt margaritas, but I've never seen anybody make it the way you do. But I just didn't have the time and the budget, so I got like the cheapest bottle of tequila and a bottle of the like green margarita mix, and I've got some ice here in the studio. And what I'm going to do is you can talk while I start mixing and blending, and I am going to start the video camera, and I will post this somewhere later. Take it away.
So people will know. So the only difference between, the margaritas that I make really is that instead of using the Contro, which is the kind of orange flavored, citrusy flavored liqueur, I use Midori, which is the melon. It's a thicker melon flavored liqueur.
Oops.
Technically, I think the name of the drink that I make is technically called a green iguana, but it's a margarita. It just uses the melon liqueur instead of the Contro. I just happen to like it better. It's also the Midori makes it a really bright, glowy green. So you kind of think maybe you're drinking something radioactive. But anyway.
Let me pause to ask a question.
Ask away.
I have no way to measure anything, I just noticed. So I do just wing it, or?
Just wing it.
Okay.
It's not an exact science, although I know a lot of people would disagree with me.
Well, my sister's in the chat room. Do you have, excuse me, I thought it was over the coffin thing. I can send her a link through Skype, can't I? Let's see. Send an SMS?
Sure.
Let's see. Send an IM. Here's an IM. See if you can get this in your Skype. You can click that and it'll...
Something just, yeah.
Yeah.
It did.
If you want to get into the chat. Okay. Now, back to the shenanigans. Keep talking.
Okay. So, anyway, so what you need to do is, like, first you got to put the ice in there, right? And you're in the, you're still there, right?
She can't hear you, but she's over there, yes.
Okay, good. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is put the ice in, and you want to fill it up about 3/4 of the way full with ice. And then
alcohol.
For the
it's about to get noisy.
For the tequila, it really doesn't matter if you use cheap tequila or expensive tequila. I know people would disagree with me on that, but I don't care because it's me. But you kind of, I would call it like do about 4 glugs of, how the bottle glug glugs. Do about 4 glugs since they're not being exact. do 4 glugs of the tequila.
Well, I made it, but I didn't bring a cup back here. We don't have glasses.
Are you going to drink directly out of the pitcher?
Well, if I pick it up, it will pee all over because it's like
that's so redneck.
a seal is messed up or something. It leaks. It pees everywhere when you use it. I've got a bunch of towels underneath the blender. So I don't know.
I'm not sure people, really want to hear about your blender bladder problems. But
should I run a cup or?
You need a cup or something.
Yeah, let me go get run. You want to talk to her, Space Boy?
All right, so Surlana has gone to. She hasn't even touched any alcohol yet, and she's off on the deep end.
I've noticed this. Yes, straws are needed. Tell her she needs a straw.
You need a straw too.
Or, I don't know, she could just drink it straight, but then there's going to be brain freeze, and God knows what'll happen then. So, yeah. That's basically when I make it. At this point, I make it with the frozen limeade, and I put, like, a half a can of the frozen limeade in, and then, I add, like, if we're gonna measure in glugs, I add like 2 or 3 glugs of the Midori. It depends on how much melon you want in your margarita. So, but that's how I make it. And technically, I think it's called a green iguana because I saw that somewhere in a bartending book one time. Because I was a bartender in my past life. Mm-hmm. But but anyway. So that's how I make it. But since she's got the liquid out of the bottle, if you make it that way, after you put the tequila in, you do like 2 glugs of the Cointreau, and then the rest you just cover the rest of the ice in the green, just barely over the top of the rest of the ice with the green mix, and then hit the blender, and that should do it.
I just ran to the kitchen and back. All right. Is it supposed to be all foamy?
That may be the mix. I don't know. You didn't put soap in it, did you?
I don't think I got the ratio of mix to tequila right, but it's it didn't quite blend up all the ice, but it's cold.
Yeah, well, that works.
Who shut her nose in a freezer door?
That's a story about a New Year's party that. Yeah. Anyway, there were bodies everywhere.
Space Boy's drinking some. Got a cup for him too.
Darn it! I want a cup. I think Randy might make me one later.
What now? You put one down. More of the mix. Okay. Sorry. It's cold. It's making me cough. Okay. I'm sure you did a fantastic job covering there. So we're here. It's Cinco de Mayo. That's why I'm trying to make a margarita. And we thought, well, let's get relaxed when we talk about our favorite movie because it's the 20th anniversary of The Fifth Element. Excuse me.
Yay!
Yay! So I love. There's these guys I used to watch more often than I do now. They're just YouTubers or gamers, and they play a lot of Gary's Mod. And they were quoting Fifth Element so heavily. It would just crack me up, and they would just keep going, multipass, and, please help, and, just...
Please help.
Yeah, and, what's the guy who stands outside is trying to rob him? He's got that crazy thing on his head. It's like, it's a picture of the hallway.
Yep.
They're always going, give me the cash. But, so I'm looking at an article that says, dated October 13th, 2015, that says it was released 20 years ago that day. So I don't know if this is the 20th year or was the 2015 the 20th year.
I don't know, but that just doesn't seem possible. That
It came out in 97, I believe.
Yeah. So, well, then that would make this year the 20th year. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to check that. IMDb.com. Let's just check, make sure. We don't get our...
And let me just, take this moment to, since we're talking about how old that flick is, just to say that Bruce Willis never ages. I mean, really, looks good.
Or he's got just stylists that keep him from looking old.
Possibly. It's true. But he always looks great.
97.
97. So it is this year.
The look...
Totally crazy. One of my favorite movies of all time.
Well, this is the 20th year, and what they're doing is, for 2 days only, they're re-releasing The Fifth Element to theaters, and I want to say Sunday, May 12th, is at 2 p.m. is one of the times you can see, and then the following Wednesday... Let me check. It's on fathomevents.com.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah. They do a lot of that special release. And usually when we go see Riff Tracks live, it's a Fathom event. I'm on fathomevents.com. I'm trying to see if I can see it. Ooh, Saturday Night Fevers. Yeah, I don't see it, but I know it's a Fathom event, but let me do a quick search on it. Fifth Element. Come on, you're there. Aha, here we go. It's May 14th and May 17th.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be released in 4K. So they've gone back and they've done something to it, I believe. And if you go to one of these special showings, you'll get an exclusive introduction to Valerian, City of a Thousand Planets, which is the next adventure from the same director, Luc Besson. And it was, Fifth Element was the highest grossing non-U.S. movie, because it's a French film.
Yeah.
And it did very well outside the U.S.
Right.
So I know the things you and I like about it are some of the things it gets slammed for, like Chris Tucker's character, his role, and his screaming and his effeminate, annoying, shrill voice. But for me, that made it. I'd never seen anybody act like that before.
But, the whole thing that makes it is just the over-the-top characters. And he is, like, totally over the top. And what's so funny is he's so effeminate, but he's got all these women just falling all over. For me, it was almost like they were parroting Prince.
Well,
it like
it's funny you should mention that. Prince was offered the role first for Ruby Rhod.
Oh, wow.
He turned it down because the costumes were too effeminate. Prince!
Prince. When Prince says something like that,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, his character was just...
And they offered Bruce Willis's role first to Mel Gibson.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's really funny. I mean, I know Gibson did a lot of roles similar to the character, but I think Willis was perfect for it. I don't think Gibson.
It was the most good I've ever heard him. He was very soft spoken most of the film, except when he was trying to, except during the action scenes, and that's another thing they quote all the time when these kids I'm watching is like, where did he learn to negotiate? Gary Oldman, who plays the villain in Fifth Element, hated the movie. He hated his role. He doesn't want to even speak about it. But I read that he says that about most things he's in.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think he has a big case of self-loathing. But he did that old Southern gentleman villain in one of the things I looked up when I was doing some research on the movie. Crack.com always is famous for all its funny lists it puts together, and one of the lists I found for The Fifth Element it dinged on was the 5 most needlessly evil movie villains. And of course, Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg is on here as number 1. Let's see. It says he's pointlessly evil. He's like, so he's getting paid by this evil planet to help this planet destroy Earth. And he says,
Right.
it says, someone's paying this guy to destroy everything that exists, including himself. How could he not see a problem with that plan?
Right. Well, you kind of get the feeling in the movie that he feels like somehow he'll survive and be made like a lord or something over a small corner of chaos. I don't know. You kind of get that feeling in a couple of the scenes where he's talking about what will happen. And that's but yeah, I again, over the top characters completely make it. I mean, completely. It just wouldn't have been the same.
Maybe his reward will be spiritual. We see him talking on the phone to the great evil that hired him. He says, well, the costs have tripled, like he's going to be able to spend money after everything.
Right, after everything is blown to bits.
So he doesn't have access to that. He says there's a huge chance that the great evil, having lain dormant for the past 5,000 years, doesn't have access to that kind of cash. So, he's just evil for the sake of being evil.
Right.
How about that little bug they planted? It's a cockroach with a little satellite on its back.
That was pretty hilarious, too.
Mm-hmm. See, the movie, I think this movie's like Starship Troopers. We're not supposed to take it at face value. I mean, I think we're supposed to have fun with it.
It's a have fun movie. Okay, it's meant to me. It's meant to be a funny, have fun movie. Like, to me, it's almost along the lines of like Princess Bride,
which is a classic.
You know, it's not meant. It's meant to entertain, to make you laugh, to, you know, I mean, it's deliberately hilarious. So, yeah, it's for entertainment value only. It's not, they're trying to make it into something it never wanted to be.
I think that's why, like Starship Troopers is greatly misunderstood.
Right.
Sorry, I just took a photo of my drink so I could tweet it. We don't have fancy things like drinking glasses. We just have the red cup. Maybe we are rednecks. I don't know.
But, you know, you're rednecks with a margarita and good taste in movies.
I don't remember our Tea Sarcasm. What is it? There it is. And who are you again? Oh,
and you were getting under me about not remembering my name.
Well, you have more than one pseudonym. That's the thing.
I'm feeling completely left out.
Well, I thought your husband would come through by now, but oh well. So I tweeted a picture, this unremarkable picture of my cup. Anyway, I also found some facts you didn't know about the Fifth Element from mentalfloss.com. So, one of the things they mentioned is the Fifth Element would have never happened had it not been for the success of Leon the Professional. I don't know if you ever saw that. I didn't see. I think Spaceboy's seen The Professional. So Luc Besson started working on the Fifth Element as early as 1992, but he couldn't get the backing he needed for all that sci-fi stuff. So he did some pre-production and kind of had to set it aside. And then he wrote and directed The Professional, starring Jean Reno and a 13-year-old Natalie Portman. And Gary Oldman was in that too.
Right.
And it did really well. I think it had 45 mil worldwide. It only had a 16 mil budget, so it made money. So he made that it kind of showed that he could be a success as a director, writer. So he could put The Fifth Element back on the burner to heat it up. And the second thing is he wishes he would have taken more time to get The Fifth Element made. And he was frustrated because of the film. He had to get the film right before all the new effects could get made. And this was the 90s when it was still fairly difficult to do, motion capture and things like that. Not like they can do. He says, now you just throw a camera on your shoulder and you run and add a couple of dinosaurs or spaceships and post, So, he said he wanted a chance to make another futuristic film, maybe even a sequel, with now that the technology's made easier. Now, this article is in 2015, so this is foreshadowing. The Fifth Element was inspired by French comic books.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
So when he was a teenager, Luc Besson devoured French comics, which of course, I guess they would exist, especially sci-fi. He hired two of the artists that he liked from the comics to be production designers for The Fifth Element and use their sketches and storyboards extensively, but they later came back and sued him for plagiarizing their comic in The Fifth Element, but the case got dismissed, so it was the comic editor's fault who'd filed the lawsuit, not him and the two artists. It was their editor. So very strange. The strange thing about it is the Fifth Element story plot is based on ideas from Plato, which Luke didn't even know.
Fascinating. I did not know that either.
So the Fifth Element contains the four elements: earth, water, fire, wind, to make a fifth element, life. So it turns out this has already been done. It's a basic concept by Plato. It was Luke's father who said, you're doing a remake of Plato, and he showed him all these the writings of Plato, and he said, well, I'd already put it in my script without knowing, so I thought that was interesting.
My cabana boy just showed up with my margarita.
Woo! Randy Candy.
It's delicious.
I'm sure it's better than my sad efforts sucking mine through a straw. Did you have some over there, producer dude? Is it nasty? No? Okay. It's drinkable. All right. Luc Besson is a hands-on director. He'll even operate the camera himself.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that about him.
And he'll even take the actor by the shoulders and move him around manually. And I guess that's something
the actors felt about that.
Yeah, there's something I'm sure American actors are not used to do. And as I said, Chris Tucker's role was meant for Prince.
Right.
And according to Jean-Paul Gaultier, the costume designer for The Fifth Element, he said the director had lined up Mel Gibson, Julia Roberts, and Prince to play the leads. What a weird blankety-blank group to do.
That is no. Julia Roberts.
No.
No way.
She's too America's sweetheart.
No way could she have ever done that.
Whereas Mila Jovovich is freaky.
Yeah, she was perfect.
She knows how to get down and freaky. And this was in 1992 when they were going to play the leads, before the financial problems kind of delayed it.
Right.
So he arranged Besson or Besson. I don't know. I'm just saying it with a French accent. I really don't know how you say Luc Besson. Is it Besson? I just like to say Besson. He arranged for Gaultier to meet Prince when the singer was in Paris doing other stuff. So he took the sketches to Prince, and the meeting was really awkward, he said. He found the costumes too effeminate. And it would have... Getting Prince might have delayed the whole movie anyway, but, you know, trying to think about the Ruby Rod character with Prince, he would have probably been quieter and more subtle.
Yeah, not as loud and...
Not over the top.
Not as over the top, which I don't think would have... It wouldn't have worked.
Mm-mm.
Just wouldn't have worked as well.
It's the most expensive non-U.S. film in history. It cost upwards of $70 million to get made. Sorry. I'm starting to feel it. Oh, and you know this one? I didn't know this either. He says, this is fact number 8. Nobody can agree on what year it takes place in. Because, you know, we start out in the movie, it's 1914 in that tomb or whatever. Then it says 300 years later.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And Corbin Dallas's alarm clock says the year is 2263, but the DVD liner, DVD 1997 edition says it's 2257. The director says it's 2259 in his book, The Story of the Fifth Element, which I didn't know existed. I'd like to try to find that. The cast didn't know what the diva looked like until they saw her on stage. And that's because the director wanted to capture people's genuine, natural reactions when they first saw her.
Shock, yeah.
And the thing is, I think he had an actress lined up to play her, but she bowed out or something happened, so he had to get his then wife, Maywin Lee Lebesco, to be Plava Laguna. So he put her behind a curtain until it was time to film her scene.
Wow.
And that's what happened. But I read in another place that he divorced her to marry Mila, and then divorced Mila 2 years later to marry someone else. And when he divorced the first wife I just talked about, he had come off of a previous divorce. So that's 4 or 5 times.
Yeah. The serial marrier.
My earlobes are really warm. Is that normal?
And now,
Check this out.
On Surlana's body parts.
Check this out, speaking of body parts. Number 10. Some of Mila Jovovich's high kicks were performed by a leg on a stick. Now, she's no stranger to action and fight scenes, so she trained for it, right?
Right.
But she couldn't get her leg up high enough for some of the fight scenes she needed to do.
Why wasn't that in the credits somewhere? Because you know there was somebody that ran the leg on a stick. You know?
Leg on stick by Joe Bob.
Joe Bob.
She said they worked around it by putting a fake leg on a stick and held it just below the camera's frame, and she would move her body as the kick, and the leg operators would swing the thing up into frame. My face is warm. Hold on, I'm gonna put this up. Put this cup against my face. Oh, that feels better. Here it is. Number 12. Fact about the Fifth Element. It offered Luc Besson the opportunity to ruin his second marriage and launch his third. So, like I said, he was married to the May Win, who plays the diva, and he'd been married to her since 1992, when she was 16 and he was 33. She didn't want to be in the film, May Win, saying that it's not good for married people to work together. He's not paying attention. And co-workers shouldn't marry each other. That was her code of ethics. And then he had to cast her as the diva. And so she gave the memorable performance. And it says here, he didn't share his wife's policy of not mixing work with relationships, so he left her for Mila, who he married at the end of 1997, divorced her 2 years later, and he was married once before May Wynn. So, them creative types,
Yeah. I don't think you can blame creativity.
So, Jean-Paul Gaultier, he actually worked his fingers to the bone on the costumes. Besides, if you don't know Jean-Paul's the one who gave Madonna her canonical bullet cone breasts.
Torpedo titties.
I've had just enough alcohol. So he had like 1,000 costumes for the movie, and they said
costumes were great. But the one I had to really pause at, which gets me every time, is the what do they call it? The solar tape or something?
Yeah,
solar bandages.
Dermal bandages or something.
Yeah.
Let's just cover the naughty bits and nothing else.
Let's cover the naughty bits with bandages. Because heaven forbid they get any sun.
So he designed everything, even the crowd, the things that if there was a crowd scene or a bunch of people, that was all his stuff that they were wearing. Hundreds of extras. He would go around to each person and make adjustments to make sure everyone looked right to his satisfaction before the camera rolls. So, just another thing to appreciate about the movie. So, I'm going to look at real quick. Speaking of Ruby Rod, I'm looking at another Cracked.com list that says it's the 7 most irritating characters from otherwise great movies, and we're only going to be concerned with number 7, which is Ruby Rod. Now, the person who's writing this article obviously has a problem with this character. Ruby Rod, I'm quoting on this list, this person wrote, played by Chris Tucker on what seems to be a near lethal amount of cocaine, is a radio show host of the future. But, they're saying he's loud, he's annoying, he's nasally, he's unintelligible, he's hyperactive. His wardrobe makes Lady Gaga's look like it was purchased from an outlet mall. His hair is phallic. And he's supposed to be wacky and annoying, but
his hair was phallic. There's no getting away from that.
And he says, well, if this guy had been on the screen for like 40 seconds, we could have had a chuckle and moved on, but he constantly just sticks around. I don't have a problem with it, and I've watched this movie, I've lost count how many times I've watched it. And it's basically for him.
Every time it's on and I'm channel surfing, I have to stop and watch the whole thing through from what point it's in. I have to stop and watch it. It's just a complete.
I'm looking at the transcribed. He says this guy's typed out the transcription of this one scene, and it's just the screaming and coughing. But I love that. He's like, he's like, Ruby, hold this gun. Just hold this gun. It's like, come on, man. I don't feel right. I got a headache. This ain't me.
I got a headache. Come on.
It feels. It just feels very improv for a moment,
Yeah, it did.
So, this guy goes on to kind of slam it. It's like, the screeching is irritating. And even during the pinnacle of the fight scene, you'd want some drama or sense of danger, but they force the comic relief in. Well, it's not trying to be something that it's not. You know what I'm trying to say? It's...
Right.
It's supposed to be goofy like Starship Troopers. I didn't understand that movie until I went back and read about it, and then I kind of understood where it was coming from, and now I can appreciate it for what it's for.
Yeah.
But here's another site from, it's dorkly.com. There's this guy called Tristan Cooper. 7 things that still bug me about The Fifth Element. Although these are questions I didn't think about, but sometimes he has a point. He says, what happened to that poor alien at the beginning of the film that, they come to get the 4 stones, And
Right.
one of them gets like accidentally locked up in the tomb. He says, time
Right.
not important, life important. And so this guy points out, so they gave that priest there the key. Why couldn't he just stuck that key in the wall and got that poor dude? This guy calls the alien, he says, let's call the alien Frank for lack of a better term. It's like, Luke Perry shows up and ruins everything. He waves a piddly pistol around, and this priest friend has been in on this deal. The gun goes off, some sort of temple security mechanism triggers, and the walls close in, and the last alien has barely time to stick his hand out to deliver the key. So then his alien buddies just leave him there? It's not like we see any bad guys. Yeah, there's a sense of urgency, but you don't know why. There's nobody.
Right. You don't understand why or what's going on about that particular part of the movie.
And he says maybe there's a deleted scene where one of them realizes their mistake and yells, "Oh my God, we forgot Frank on Earth." So he said we're left to assume that Frank is behind that wall for all eternity.
Right.
So that key gets passed down to other priests. So when they get the stones and they get the fifth element and they go to try to save the world, does that guy David get there first, open the thing, and find like the desiccated remains of Frank? And they don't show it. Yeah, that's what he's saying. David dutifully setting up glow sticks to light the way. But we assume that David came upon Frank's desiccated corpse when he first opened the temple. Oh, see, now here's another good one. Number 6, why is trash stacked to the ceiling in that airport? Where she's going multipass and everybody's trying to get on the ship. And there's just this sea of trash behind them in the background. I never really thought about that. It's just garbage everywhere. It feels more like apology is in order, and we need an explanation why. It implies there's sanitation worker strike, but that doesn't make any sense, I was like, that's a good thing. Why is there so much garbage in this? I assume it's kind of like an airport, but for spaceships. Are you still there? You drunk now? All right, I don't hear her. Let's see, is she still connected on? Oops.
She got disconnected.
She's disconnected. No. Stand by. I'm trying to operate this, and I'm not all here.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened. I just thought you were strangely quiet.
Well, no, I was talking and then everything went dead. I don't know what happened.
That happens to me all the time. I talk and things just go dead. Wait, hold on, I'm having I'm having a little disagreement with Skype here. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Okay, there. So we were talking about why is there this 15-foot wall of refuse in this place that I guess it's like the airport for spaceships?
Yeah, that was a good point. Why was it like that? I mean, was it just... I always thought it was just kind of an idea of like... I mean, the city itself looks really, dark and ugly and concrete and, very dystopian kind of, I don't know, it looks, like that. So I just kind of thought, well, that's why there's all that trash.
Yeah, well, this guy on Dorothy points out, it implies there's a sanitation worker strike, but that doesn't quite make sense. Why is it in the airport terminal of all places, stacked up where everybody could see, where people are buying tickets, checking their luggage, cursing that one huge family at the front of the line?
Right.
And he says, get a good look at the heaps. He's got these screenshots from the movie of the trash heaps.
Yeah.
Piles that look like they belong to junkyard, like rusty fans, appliances, not just your common, like baby diaper type things. garbage strike shouldn't be a big deal because we've already seen all those robots in this universe that take care of stuff. Like
Right.
Like Zorg has all those little robots to do all the things he won't get off his butt and do.
Yeah.
Number 5, are there really super popular radio shows in the future? It's about Ruby Rod's show. He's like, the only problem I have is regarding Ruby Rod's profession, and if the year is 2263, one of the most popular stars of the galaxy is on the radio. There's no video recording being depicted in the movie. It's just a sound feed. That's a pretty good catch. You know, we just accept these things face value, not knowing there's no video of this. You think in the future it'd be all
video. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like 50 billion people tune into Ruby's show and they don't have the internet, TV, Netflix. They would think in 2063 the human race would have collectively moved on from radio. Good point. But still, I don't care.
Right, you don't care. It's not important.
He's got a screenshot of Ruby Rod going, that's the best show I ever did. Was it really the best show I ever did, though? We see Ruby are aided by scripts, special sound effects, high production value. But if you think when he's broadcasting all this stuff, their listeners are hearing gunshots, explosions, high-pitched screams. It's not like Ruby's equipped with Google Glass. And that's another point. This is like the future. Email is sent by paper through expensive pneumatic tubes.
Yeah, I love that part about it. You're like, what? Okay.
Yeah, and then, so the stones were in the diva inside her body.
Right.
Was she planning to get shot in order to get them out of her? How was she going to get them out of her without dying?
Yeah, that was a pretty bad errand mission for her.
This guy says, this article says, it seems as though the diva is in league with the robot armadillo turtles. Whoa, I'm dizzy. Stones are in me, literally in her body. It's the diva can't have planned to get murdered by a stray bullet.
And okay, so let's say, how on earth did they get in there to begin with? I mean, she went through surgery before she, it's like, hey, we're going to stick these stones in you and...
Was someone just going to straight up stab her and rip the stones out when the time came?
Right.
It's not clear how they got in her in the first place, how she did that. I mean, This guy's got a good point.
He does have a good point.
Zorg's plan is kind of terrible. It's probably why Gary Oldman hated this movie. A futuristic mogul that looks like Lady Gaga designed clothes for Dieter. Okay. He's in league with the, Mr. Shadow. That's that fireball of evil that's coming to Earth.
Right.
So, yeah. Why would Zorg want to help exterminate all life when life is vital to his business?
Right. Yeah, we're like I said, it's as though he believes he's not gonna be one of the ones destroyed, and he's gonna be given some, like reign over whatever chaos.
Well, and I'm seeing like he put a screenshot of the notice that Corbin Dallas got that he was fired because the cab he drives is part of the Zorg multi-corporation. And it's just like, beautifully printed on this sheet of plastic.
Right.
Came through a pneumatic tube. My sister just said Baptiste reminds me of a futuristic Ross Perot.
I saw that.
Yeah, I don't get what Zorg's end game is here. It's never really clearly stated. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
No.
Number 2, why does Lilu freak out over the word war? If she's a reincarnated supreme being, she's not familiar with modern language. She's trying to cram this knowledge in through, she's looking at this computer real fast paced. What looks like a Windows 95 PC. Here's an update. I can't feel my lips. Okay. Well, she stops on W for war and everything's all horrific and, then she doesn't want to save the world. He points out, this guy, Kristen, points out for his number 1 point, Earth is still doomed at the end of the movie. The weirdest big budget movies ever put on screen. So Eva loses. We get a magical redhead shooting a giant laser out of her mouth to destroy evil. There's still a matter of a dead ball of rock above the Earth, which is now our second moon. Yeah, so what is the effect of a moon being in orbit? What's the effect of gravity? If these two bodies are competing against each other, what happens to the Earth? That means if the Earth has 2 moons now, the planet is effed. A second moon would wreak havoc.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it before. That's true.
So there are a ton of holes in the plot, but I don't care.
But we don't care. No,
just
because
don't care.
It's still fun. It's fun. It's a fun movie.
Now, is she breaking up, or am I hearing that in my head?
Well, you were breaking up a little bit to me, so maybe it's either A, my connection, or B, aliens. Or margaritas. Could be the above.
I can't feel my face, so I'm not sure what's happening. Yeah, okay, they say you're breaking up.
I think as long as your face isn't breaking up, I think.
I have no problem if my face breaks up. Let's do it now.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Drive down here and scrape my face off.
No, there's not going to be any kind of things like that going on. Because I'm drinking a margarita, so I can't drive anywhere.
Now, does your husband make the margarita the same way you do, or did you get the recipe from him?
He makes it about the same.
I tell you, Sookie and her husband are very good cooks. Let me tell you about their mashed potatoes. She makes mashed potatoes. You want to just take an ice cream scoop and put it in a cone. It's so good. It is so good. I think she uses, you use like ranch dressing in it.
Yep. Ranch dressing. That's a secret ingredient.
But I don't know why. It's just, I know butter's involved, right?
Yeah, butter's heavily involved.
That's good. I mean, you should, I think people would pay you for your potatoes. Like, I don't know what the street legal value of your potatoes are in a baggie. But we
could be a potato pusher.
You could totally sell that stuff in the back alley.
If I thought it would make me some money, I'd go make some right now and take it out on the street corner. And
I kind of forced my way into your Christmas this last Christmas. I confronted your husband. I said, "Look, I want a Cajun Christmas with catfish." And, I don't know, whatever, corn, dirty rice, whatever else y'all eat. And And he
Hush
came
Puppies.
through. Yeah, Hush Puppies. He came through. He says, that sounds like a great idea. And your
Yep.
your 14, 15-year-old son liked it. Your mom liked it. I think she contributed to it.
My son is still grateful to you for that idea. He said it was the greatest idea ever.
I think I've started a tradition. I also think my
You
speech
could.
is slurred. Didn't you have like gumbo or what did you have?
Yeah, we made gumbo and
Bread
mashed
rolls.
potatoes, hush puppies, and I don't remember what else
You had
besides.
your husband
fish.
bought some kind of 8-legged alien
did-
creature and he drowned
Oh
it.
yeah, he put crabs in the gumbo. Yeah, and he made fried shrimp too.
Mm-hmm. It was the greatest Christmas ever.
It was. It was.
We gotta do it again. It's not that far.
Definitely.
Not that far away.
No. No.
We can do it.
We can start.
Mm-hmm. Too bad my husband's so flippant antisocial. He would have had a great time. Because I only was there long enough for y'all to prep it and eat it, and I got out. I didn't hang around. I got what I wanted and left. Yeah, so anyway. I like to go see The Fifth Element in the theaters, but May 12th will be at Comic Palooza. It'll be the last day. Oh, my sister wants an invitation for next year to the Cajun
She'll
Christmas.
definitely get one.
She'll get one. Yeah, so if you can go see The Fifth Element on May 12th or 17th, go check it out if you love the movie. Take someone, maybe kidnap somebody and take them with you if they've never seen it and tell them why it's good. Say, don't worry about the plot. Don't worry about the acting. It's not what that it's about. It's about just having fun and looking at cool costumes. And really, I think Chris Tucker makes that film because he has the best last line of a film, of any film. It's like, what you screaming for? When every 10 minutes there's a bomb or something going off, I'm leaving. And that's the last line of the film.
Yeah.
Do you have like a favorite thing or a favorite moment, or is it just the whole movie as a whole? Or
Wow. I'm trying to think. The part where they're in the shootout with the aliens and that scene, with Chris Tucker is just hilarious. Where he's holding the gun on the alien and he's freaking out. It goes off to the part where trying to get the guy to throwing the really dumb.
oh, he's deaf. The guy's deaf. He couldn't hear.
Shot. He's trying to get him to throwing the gun, and when he rolls a ball over
Billiard balls. He rolls these billiard balls over because they're all hiding behind stuff.
It's so hilarious. Just that whole scene, it's great. Yeah, I love that part.
Oh, you're breaking up again. I don't know why she's breaking up so hard.
Sorry. I don't know. Probably connection.
Unfortunately, you do have DSL.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you live in the middle of nowhere.
Well, lucky what we have. I'd rather be in the middle of nowhere than in the middle of the city.
Well, I'm in the city, but there's a stables in this neighborhood. It has horses in it. Next to a $500,000 set of townhomes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got...
Well, that happens in the area, though.
We've got
It's like
everything.
you have subdivisions and stuff.
I know you're allergic to the urban sprawl.
I am. I deal.
I am about to
Can't
face
deal with it.
plant.
I'm not far enough out.
Yeah, civilization's catching up to where you live now.
Yeah, really bad. I want to move further out. I'm too far in now.
It takes me 40 minutes to get from my house to your house. It's not terrible, but
Yep.
I can't feel the inside of my mouth now. It's gone numb.
That could cause problems. Don't bite your tongue.
I'm about to face plant. So we can.
So are we going to talk about new?
Yes. So briefly,
uh,
we can wrap up by talking about Luc Besson's newest thing called Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets, which is coming out soon. And when is that coming out? Let me check that out. Is it June? Valerian. Oh, why?
Yeah, I think it's June.
Dang it! I'm so drunk. I can't.
Or is it June?
Can't work browsers. All right, here we go. Valerian, the City of a Thousand Planets, and it's going to be all Frenchy French, and it's going to come out July 21st, and we'll be there with bells on.
Okay.
I know you're looking forward to
Yes,
it.
will.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll be done being sick, and I'll be sobered up by then. And I really think we should do this.
Dope.
We should drink for every show.
You know, I could work with that.
So, tentatively, we'll say, let's see, what's the first Friday in June 2nd? We'll shoot for June 2nd to try to come back if we feel like it, if you're lucky.
Okay.
In the meantime, it will go back to Fridays at 8 p.m., which will be Space Boy Music, because he graciously allows us to do this on his time slot, first Friday of the month. And we were both just too out of it last time, and I told you I'll never make fun of you for being sick to the point where you can't get well ever again, because I'm going through that now. But I'll find
Everybody's going through it down here.
I'll find other ways to make fun of you. So,
No doubt.
I am way too buzzed to continue. You wrap it up there. You do it.
Okay. Well, wow.
I can't. I'm such a face plant, dude.
I kind of that moment in Jane's world where it's all left to Garth and he's like staring at the camera and doesn't know what to say. Yeah, so anyway, thanks for joining us. Happy Cinco de Mayo, and we'll see you in a month.
If you're lucky. Let me comment. Yeah, stay tuned to at the SBU network, at the SBU network, or at Tea Sarcasm. I don't know. You'll figure it out. I'll tweet it. You'll be there, and we'll figure it out together.
Figure it out. Your sister's cut us off. I think the bar's closing.
I think I'm done. I'll see you next time.